2 days ago, a notary in my Facebook group asked a question about notarizing the signature of someone who was unable to sign their name. And the notary wanted to know, one, is that allowed? She pretty much knew that it would be allowed, but she just wasn't sure of how to perform that type of notarization. Like so many notary questions, the answers are not that readily available. And so it took me until now, 2 days later, to come up with what I believe is a satisfactory answer that complies with Alabama notary laws and best practices so that the next time this notary runs into this situation, she'll know how to proceed. And hopefully, you will also remember this video and come back to it when you've been asked to do the same. My name's Michelle Riley. I'm a former Alabama notary public with over 20 years of experience, and I continue to mentor and train Alabama notaries. If this isn't your first video, you know that I am not a lawyer. Um, you should not treat this as legal advice at all. And it is based on my personal and professional experience as a notary over the years and also some reputable reference material. I went ahead and started the timer for 15 minutes because I hopefully can get through all of this in about that time. Keep in mind, notarizing a signature by mark is intended to help you, the notary, when the signer has either a temporary or permanent physical limitation. I don't want you to think that this is an alternative or something that you should use if the signer can't be there in person or if the signer has something more serious wrong with them, whereby they can't talk, you can't communicate with them, that all they need to do is make a mark on a sheet of paper and you can notarize it. That is not the case. And we're going to go through the process and different things you should check with. But again, due to a temporary or permanent physical limitation, they are unable to sign a document with a regular or their typical traditional official signature. I encourage you in these situations to ask questions before you even schedule an appointment. And that way you can decide whether to book the appointment or redirect the family elsewhere. And that's how this normally comes about. You, the notary, would receive a call saying, we have this document that needs to be notarized, but my father, my mother, my brother, this patient is unable to sign their name. What are our options? And so let's go through some questions that I ask the caller in order to determine if signature by mark is something that would be useful as an option. So, pre-appointment questions, you've got them on the phone or you're communicating via email. Ask them, What type of identification does the signer have? This is important. And you're going to get into the specifics. Is it valid ID? Is it expired? Is it for Alabama or is it from another state? Is it a passport? This way you can decide if that type of ID is acceptable to you or not for you to perform the notarization according to Alabama requirements. I've mentioned in other videos that I use a booklet called ID checking guide so that if it's a ID from another state, I have a good idea of what it should look like once I get to the appointment. You should also ask, does that ID have the signer's regular signature on it or mark? It'll be very helpful and useful if that driver's license was signed with a mark. That means that state, the state that issued that license, accepted that mark being an X or a line or something else. So go ahead and ask. Now, if they say no, it has their signature from before their surgery and they were able to sign, that's fine. But at least you know that going in. Another question to ask the caller is what's preventing your parent, your sister, your child from signing their name the regular way or the way they usually sign? That's not an inappropriate question. By asking that question and them answering it, you gain a better understanding of what to expect during the notarization. Notice, I didn't say ask them, what is your family member's medical diagnosis? Ask what's preventing. Is it a cast on the arm? Is it IV tubing? Is it, you get the picture. Next question, is your brother able to have a conversation with me? It, even if the signer is unable to sign their name, they must still be able to communicate with you, the notary, so that you can ascertain some other important factors, like does this person understand what they're signing? Are they being forced or coerced in making their mark? Can they, the signer, do more than reply yes or no to me? For me, if all they can do is say yes, no, that's not good enough because I still don't or wouldn't know and be reassured that they fully understand what the purpose of the document is. So, yes, I get into all of this on the phone. The next question I ask is what's the name or the title of the document that needs to be notarized? Again, I want to be familiar with the document. This gives me an opportunity to possibly Google the name of the document and get a look at it. And yes, it's okay to ask them to send you a copy of the document if you're unfamiliar with it so you could see how it is drawn up. I ask, has your family member read or reviewed the document already? Again, we're getting at, does the signer know what needs to be notarized or what the outcome will be? I always ask, has the form already been completed, meaning filled out? Has it already been signed? And then I respond accordingly. If it's already been completed, I want to know by whom? By the signer. That's strange. If they can complete a form, they should be able to make a mark or either sign their name or make a mark. I also let them know if there are a lot of blanks already. They need to be filled out. It needs to be complete. I cannot notarize an incomplete document. And if the document has already been signed, as you know, as notaries, that could pose a problem. Depending on the type of notarial act, we need to see the signature being made. So you're getting all of this taken care of up front. And these are things that we should be asking for any and every type of notarization. Another question. The form might require that I place your sister under oath. Is she up to doing that? And of course, the family member may not even know what that entails. And so I'm going to say, I'm going to ask her this question. And if this hand is not good, then I might ask her to raise her other hand. And if both hands are immobilized, then I won't worry about the raising of the hands, but the sister, the signer, still has to be able to take that oath or make an oath. I love to ask, is a lawyer involved with this transaction? Here's why. If the documents were prepared by a lawyer, chances are I have no concerns or worries. The lawyer would have already factored in the signer can't sign. It's going to have all the verbiage that I need in order to do a signature by mark. A lawyer involved has already decided whether or not there's a guardian, power of attorney, all of that. And so I love it when a lawyer's involved. And yes, there will be times when I will say, you know what, you may be better off speaking with a lawyer about this to make sure that this is the right path to take for this form. Which leads me to the question in bold red, which is very important to ask. Will a signature by mark be accepted? Accepted by whomever requires this form. As an example, what if it's a power of attorney form where the person who is unable to make a signature wants to add their family member to their bank account? That's something that comes up a lot. And the family, either through Googling or speaking with someone else, said, yep, let's just get brother, sister, mom, dad to sign this power of attorney form and have it notarized. Well, one, the signature is going to either be the letter X or a line or some type of mark with the pen. Will the bank accept that? They may say, oh no, signature by mark won't work, but something else will. And so I think it's important that you get in the habit of telling the signer or asking the signer to, before they hire you and pay you the notary money to notarize a form, to make sure that however they plan on using the form, they will accept the form with the notarization. All right, those are the pre-appointment questions. You'll get your answers, and now you'll know whether or not you're going to schedule that appointment and conduct the notarization. Once you get to the location with the signer who is unable to make a regular signature on a form, I want you to pay attention to the following things. One, it is not okay for a family member or anyone else to hold the signer's hand and guide their hand to make a signature. Yes, they may mean well, but that is not allowed. The individual who is signing needs to make the mark on their own, whether it's an X, a squiggly line, A ugly signature, it they have to do it on their own. That is part of you observing and being convinced or given the impression that this person is signing under their own free will. While you're there, you're checking to see if the signer is attentive. Do they respond to your questions appropriately? All right. And this is, we're not talking about quizzing them with trivia. Who's the president? What date is it? Who signed the Declaration of Independence? How old did the United States turn on July 4th? Don't do that. Have a conversation with them. You decide what that entails. Don't ask, well, you could if they've got soccer on the screen, the World Cup, you may want to say, so which team are you pulling for? And listen to how they answer, what they say. Slurred speech doesn't immediately indicate that they are not attentive. So again, have a conversation either about what's on television, how they're feeling, but more importantly, about the transaction. Mr. Jones, your sister called me and asked me to notarize your signature or your mark on this form. Can you tell me what you're trying to accomplish today? Observe to see whether or not the signer is being pressured to sign this document. And you're going to do that by really listening, doing some close listening, and observing what the dynamics in the room, in the house. Who's doing all the talking? What's the vibe, the tone? And I go ahead and I ask, are you sure this is something you want to do to the signer? You know, I ask the signer that question. Is anyone pressuring you? And if there is someone who keeps monopolizing the conversation, I've asked family members more than once, if you don't mind, just step out into the hallway and I want to speak one-on-one with your family member. I know I kind of went through that quickly. All right, so again, your steps are going to be you arrive at the appointment, you still need to verify the signer's identity. You're going to perform all the different verbal ceremonies. If it's a jurat form, you're going to place them under oath. You're going to ask them those questions about, do you know what you're signing? Is anyone forcing you? I put all of that into verbal ceremonies. And once you're done with that, you're going to also make sure the signer makes their mark in your notary journal. You're going to record this as a notarization. And I encourage you to go ahead and make notes that this was signature by Mark. And then you're ready to go ahead and instruct the signer to make their mark on the signature line of the document. You're going to, boy, I have that journal information down there twice. And then the witness will again print the signer's name next to the X. And then the witness is going to also sign their name as a witness to the signature by Mark. Can't believe I left that off of there. Wow, we are almost done. All right, final slide. Number one, always require personal appearance, no exceptions. I say this, I know you know this, but family members might think, oh, since it's signature by Mark, it's not a big deal. and then have the family member go to get x-rays done or an MRI or physical therapy or a doctor's appointment. No, the signer who's making the mark has to show up in the flesh. Number two, you must be able to communicate with the signer and conduct your verbal ceremonies. The signer must be able to independently, without help from anyone else, draw their mark on the signature line. It can be above it, near it. It doesn't have to be pretty. You're going to use a journal to document everything. Practice makes perfect. What I mean is, for the signer, go ahead and have them practice their mark so that they know what off of on a separate sheet of paper so that they can see what um, their mark is going to look like. All right. You can help with that, not holding their hand. You let them know, you're going to make an X. And so have them make an X. And if it's too small, real tiny, that could be an issue. And so you can say, can you make that X any bigger? All right. Um, Practice makes perfect for you in that. So for the signer, it's perfecting their signature, their X or their mark. For you, it's don't shy away from this type of notarization request. If you keep saying no, and you can decline, in Alabama, we can legally decline to notarize. And I mean, if you're not ready for it yet, fine. But if you've been a notary for more than one term by now, you should be able to do this type of notarization. I'm going to talk about fees. I've heard some folks say, well, for that type of notarization, I got to charge extra because it's going to take a long time. There is nothing in the code that says we can add extra fees on because it's a complex notarization. So I want to caution you not to do that or caution you about doing that because that means someone with a disability is paying more for your services. That could be construed as being discriminatory. So quote the fees as we're supposed to, count up the notarial acts, include a reasonable travel fee, and leave it at that. You're not going to get this type of notarization request every day. And so, yes, if you have to spend extra time doing this, so be it. And again, number seven, you can decline. All right, on the screen, you'll see a sample of a loose notarial certificate for notarizations that will be conducted signature by mark. This is for an acknowledgement. There is also one for jurat. Notice the venue, nothing different from any other loose notarial certificate. The date, and again, so before me, the undersigned notary public personally appeared. This is where you, notary, would print the signer, the person signing by mark, print their name as it appears on the document. You indicate how you verified the signer's identity. This states that there were two witnesses present, and if you end up using one, you're going to need to change that. But here is, you would print the witness's name here, hang on just a moment, one of whom blank also wrote. So whoever wrote the signer's name near the mark, their name would go here. Your signature notary, the notary's credentials. So for us, for those of you in Alabama, you could put your printed name, the expiration date of your commission, um, and then you're going to put your official seal somewhere over here. And then below here, again, the name and address of one or two witnesses. And again, in Alabama, I hope I get this right, it was one witness unless the signer is unable to write at all and the transaction involves property being transferred. I say go with two witnesses to play it safe. All right. And then down here, even though you see Arizona here, this can be used for other states. The name of the document, the date on the document, the number of pages of the document, and if there's more than one signer involved, if so, the name. What I love about this form, and the NNA has this on all of their loose notarial certificates, is you have a real nice key on page 2 that tells you what goes where. So good stuff. All right, let's see if I can pull up one more thing and then it's a wrap. When you log on to the NNA's website, you want to look for the Knowledge Center. When you get to the Knowledge Center, that's where you'll go to News and then the U.S. Notary Reference. And notice all of the states, alphabetical order, and that is where I found the information about signature by mark. I really hope you found this information helpful. And again, I've only done 5, 6 or so of these in 20 years. It can be a lot. And those of you, you may want to practice with a family member. I think if you have children at home, it would be great. I mean, especially if they're too young to sign their name, they can make a mark on the phone, on the form, and just get practice going through the different steps. Let me know if you have any questions about this information. I hope you found it to be helpful. And if videos like these are educational and benefiting you, let me know in the comments below. And more importantly, if there's a notary related question that you have that you would like to ask me, I'll make every effort to provide you with a detailed answer. Make sure you join us at Notaries for Alabama Hangout on Facebook. It's a free Facebook group. And when I do offer training, it is on trainalabama.com. And then finally, we have a small community on the school platform, Notaries for Alabama Academy. Thank you for watching and make it a great day.